everyone. So most everyone on this call knows me. I'm Kimberly Snodgrass. I'm the certification manager for the NAWBO Institute. Today, I am so grateful to have Beyond Strategy partners with us today. We have Michelle Skina and Megan Ciaccia with us, and they are going to pour some knowledge into our community. Thank you again. I'm going to allow you to do your introductions and take it from here.
Thanks, Kimberly. Thank you for having us with you today. We're really excited to be here, and we're excited to be with you all and go through this workshop that we have for you today. We're also here to say congratulations to all of you for attaining your certification. It really takes something, and we're really happy and congratulatory to you for what you've accomplished in that space. And I also want you to know that I have 3 screens going on. So if my eyes look away, it's because I'm really trying to pay attention to the presentation, to you, and to what we're doing next to make sure we give you what you need today. I am Michelle Skina. I serve as the NAWBO National Next Gen Chair, and I'm a member of NAWBO's Philadelphia chapter. And I also am one of the one-page business plan companies sponsors. NAWBO has a sponsorship with the One Page Business Plan Company, and that company is provides a system methodology around creating and executing on business growth plans.
And I am Megan Ciaccia. I am partners with Michelle and Beyond Strategy Partners. I am a past president of NAWBO South Jersey, still a member. I'm a past PASC member as well. And like Michelle said, we are the team that supports the chapters and NAWBO on the one-page business plan and really using that tool to help run and grow your chapters.
Some of you may be connected to chapters. Some of you may just be involved in the certification. There's probably various participants here today. So if we ever say something that doesn't make sense, Kimberly or you or someone else on this this presentation can call on us and say, what's that? This is intended to be an interactive workshop. We don't want you just to listen to us for 90 minutes because this is about you and your business and creating that blueprint for growth to really support you in your growth.
Right. We'll monitor the chat, so feel free to throw something in the chat, raise your hand, interrupt us. You'll find that Michelle and I interrupt each other very often, so we welcome you guys to interrupt us as well. Like she said, we do want it to be interactive, and the more you guys interact with us, the more everybody's going to get out of it.
That's right. And so here are today's learning points. Clarity is power, consistency wins, and why now matters. And for you to get the most out of today's workshop, here's what we ask of you or recommend. Eliminate any distractions that you may have going on around you. Shut your email for just an hour or a little more, and maybe silence your cell phone. Really, you're here to focus on you, your business, and its growth, and your own personal growth over the next few years. Give yourself the freedom to just be here and do some planning in this session. Keep an open mind and, listen with the intent today to learn something new. This topic and maybe certain areas of this presentation and workshop you've heard before, and that's okay because this is a topic that you want to keep, instilling in your your company, your organization, and your team within your organization. And we just encourage you to listen here with the intent to learn something new, and because the topic is crucial to really helping you get to the next level in your business and doing it as swiftly and as intentionally as possible. So grab your notebook or a notebook because you're going to take notes. There are going to be exercises. It is audience participation at its best. And for those of you that are here through the end of our session today, there will be a mini assessment on none other than business growth planning, and you'll be entered to be in a raffle to receive a gift worth $35. Okay, are you ready? Here we are starting with clarity is power. And what we're going to focus on is the future that you are living into for just a moment. So let's do it. So first, what I would like you to do is think about your life as it is right now. What stage of life are you in with your family? For those of you that have children, how old are your children? Do you have grandchildren now? Are you living in a town where you need to be for work, for your partner's work, for your children's school? Really think about your life right now and where you are in your stage of life. How old your business is, just as a barometer. Is your business scaling up, scaling down? Take a few moments and just write down. And Megan, remind me to say write down if I forget, but write down, where you are in your life at the moment. Now let's take a few moments and think about, what is your life going to look like 5 years from now? How old are your children? How old are your grandchildren? Where are you living? Who are you with? In a concrete sense, what will be happening in 5 years? Will those children finally be heading out of your house and on their own? Or will they still be with you?
And think about how old you're going to be, right? Michelle and I were talking about this yesterday. And I said, so many people in 5 years, I'm 46 now, I'll be 51, like in that next kind of decade of our lives. And so many times we look at our age or our stages of our life and, are your 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s. And so think about it in terms of your age as well, because I think that kind of starts to shape what you think you want to be doing when you're 50 versus when you're 40. But I don't know, my kids are going to be 20 and 22 in 5 years, and that's really terrifying. So.
And I'll have a 10-year-old grandchild, which is even more terrifying.
Congratulations.
But the first time, I just want to share a little anecdote. The first time I did this exercise was in 2018. So what was that, 6 years ago? So it's funny to think that now because I'm jotting things down along with you. So the age where my kids are now are that age when I did this for the first time, when I thought like, oh, in 5 years, my oldest will be driving. And so it's kind of neat to think about it that way, have that really concrete. So many times when we think about what we want in our lives, we think more abstract, and this helps us to think more concrete. Anybody wants to share what they're thinking? We would love to hear it as well.
So Megan is threw that word out there, the abstract. And so now we're going to add that level of abstract, if you will, right? So what is it 5 years from now that you have accomplished both personally and professionally? What has your company accomplished? What does that future look like? And this is you writing your story, writing that 5 years from now chapter. Where are you living? Where are your children living? Are one of them married? And what has your company accomplished? How many countries are you operating in? How many employees do you have? And perhaps this is an area where you are, that abstract is really abstract. You're really creating something from scratch, drawing that on that canvas, if you will. No one's judging you here. No one's going to look at you in 5 years and say, did you do everything you wrote down on April 17th, 2024 in that workshop with Megan and Michelle? This is really about what's happening, what's happened in that future. Are you training and developing the next generation? How many successful jobs or projects have you completed, or how much in goods and services have you sold as a result of putting yourself in this certification process? And for those of you that might want to do so, what's your revenue at that time? We'll give you a few moments. And think about why it matters to you, that future, and how you're going to feel and how your team feels that are working with you, how your family feels about what you've achieved. And again, anyone that wants to share, you can unmute yourself. You can write in the chat something that's come up for you for the first time, or something that you may be scared to share because you don't want to put it out there for fear that it might occur.
Any volunteers to kind of break the ice?
All right, I'll go since no one's going. This is Sandy. So for me, 5 years from now, I'm hoping that I would be fully retired. My goals as far as my business is to grow an enterprise. And the exit strategy is one of which I can still earn an income from the business passively. So I won't have an active role as I do today as the managing partner. In terms of, where I'd be living, I'm hoping to go back home and spend half of my time in Aruba and half the other time here in the US. And just to enjoy life and travel with my husband. Today, we, on a volunteer basis, we facilitate marriage enrichment workshops that we will hope to continue to do so. We get a lot of joy and fulfillment from that. It's not something that we earn an income with. We just facilitate these 9 weeks workshops on a complete volunteer basis. So we hope to do that more. Today we are both having to work and earn an income, but my goal with my firm is to grow it so that I can exit and have that serve as a retirement for us.
Thank you for sharing that, Sandy. That's beautifully scripted.
Thank you.
Dr.
Anyone
Greener
else?
had her hand raised. Sorry to interrupt, but
Sure.
I did. Thank you for that. In 5 years, I was thinking, Megan, when you were talking about the age, and I'm thinking, oh wow, am I going to be that old? In 5 years, in thinking from that point of view, I was thinking by then, and this might be hopeful thinking, but I hope to be juggling grandkids and along with traveling, because that's something my husband and I really want to do. And Sandy, we would love to go back to Aruba for the 3rd time. And also juggling a successful business. And I actually also put down that in 5 years, I think the business is going to be bigger than I had expected it to be or wanted it to be. And I will have moved from, and I've been not resisting this, but I have this model in my head of consulting-based model, and I have it there intentionally for a reason and been growing my business that way. But I think I'm going to get so big, I'm going to be going to an employee-based model. So definitely thinking forward in the business and wondering, wow, how do I do that and manage these grandkids that I'm hoping for?
You ladies are giving me chills right now. Dr. Drina, what do you do?
I am a management consultant. I work with small and medium-sized businesses to grow their businesses and strengthen their internal operations and grow their business, as well as supplier diversity professionals to bring value to the sponsorship dollars to the programs that they offer, by also offering a program that's anchored by a proprietary tool that we've created. So
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And Sandy, what's your business? I'm sorry, I just can't see everyone on my screen.
Sure, no worries. We're an outsourced accounting and advisory firm. We perform bookkeeping, fractional controller, and fractional CFO services to small, medium-sized growth businesses.
Great, thank you for sharing. And thank you both for taking the time to share. I mean, it was really exciting to hear, like I'm thinking bigger than I initially was. And, this is what it's about today. Like you haven't written the book, you haven't created the recipe yet. And it's one where you add in here and you add in there, but thank you for sharing that today. So we're going to put that section of our notebook on hold for just a moment, and we're going to go into some practicality of business planning. And the benefits to planning, business growth planning, as we like to call it, is it really does just that. It drives growth. And to those of you that are going to have a team, or you have a team now, for the team members as well, it really helps them to really know what your plan is and the direction in which you are headed, so that they are then focused on what you're focused on to help the organization go down that path that you've suggested is the path to go on. And another great point is that the benefits of writing down a plan actually even cause you to fulfill that plan more so than if you just had the ideas for growth and that roadmap in your head. And it's proven, it's been tested that those that write down their plans and their goals have a little over 40% more they will achieve their goals more rapidly than those that didn't write down their plans and their goals. So it's proven, which is why we love writing it all down, which you've started. And so that recipe all leads to causing accountability for yourself and your team members, cultivating alignment within your company, and your mindset really transforms, because as you create and cultivate that plan and you actually fulfill on what you created, you actually get really excited and you really deepen your confidence to take it to the level that you had no idea you could take it to in terms of your business. So that confusion, right? Just imagine, that other side of that, in a faster way, if you will. Remember, clarity is power. And that's what drives you to execute on a plan that you create. And most of the time we're so busy, right? Putting out our day-to-day fires and just doing what we need to do to get, through our workday so that we can get home to our personal life, that we just forget to stop, think, and plan for the future.
So what is a business operations growth plan? You've heard Michelle use that term a few times, that growth plan. It's a little different than your actual business plan. That the operational planning it's the process of turning that strategic plan into a map it's that detailed map that outlines who's doing what, exactly how and when, and who's doing what on a regular basis, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, sometimes it could be quarterly. So it's taking that strategic plan that so many of us have, if you want to just kind of raise your hands, who has a strategic plan for their business? If you want to just kind of show, just so we kind of get a feel. So I see some hands going up. Some people have their cameras off, which is fine. But that growth plan is really taking that strategic plan and putting that into that map of who's going to do what, whether it's you, whether it's a team member, whether it's something that's being outsourced. And it's putting that into that growth plan. How we do things right it's the strategies. And if you're familiar with the one-page plan, we're going to talk about it. If you're familiar with the one-page plan, we talk about the strategies there. So what we're doing right is those strategies. And then actually getting them done, we talk about the importance of execution. And getting the things done is the execution and the operation side. And like Michelle said earlier, you know, your business plan, it's that living document. It's constantly changing and evolving. When we say it's changing, it doesn't just kind of change daily. It's not like, oh, I want to do this instead. It's kind of where you take a look at it and we say, oh, we need to kind of change this course of action here. You know, and we have at the bottom, it's a process, not just an event. It's not a one-time only thing. It's something that we're doing constantly. Again, if you are familiar with a one-page business plan, this is what it looks like at the end. It's literally one page. You know, if you have that business plan that you've done for the SBA or your bank that you kind of, sometimes it's that door stop to hold your door open, or it collects dust on your shelf. The one-page business plan is not that at all. What it does, it's 5 sections and it describes and answers questions. We're going to touch on a few of the sections. We're going to go more into depth in a couple of the sections as well. And we really want to focus on your certification as well. You all came to be certified for a reason. How everybody uses the certification is different. And that's kind of where we want to help you come up with that plan of how you can use that certification to the best way to grow your business. And we'd love to hear how you already are using it, because again, this is collaborative. You know, how you're using your certification may help somebody else that hasn't really thought of a strategy or an action plan.
So in the system methodology that we use, as Megan said, there's 5 sections. It's 1 page. So you can really take notes about, you know, the simplicity of the planning tool we use. You can use that, you know, as you walk away from here today. And the first component of that 1 page plan is, what are we building? And we just spent and that's called the vision. We just spent a few minutes talking about creating our futures. So now let's convert that into your business vision. So think about, let's take it to 3 years. And for those of you, maybe that's a little bit too much of a stretch. Be comfortable here, but stretch yourself a little bit more than your comfort zone in this discussion. So maybe 5 is really abstract for you, even as we spoke in concrete terms. But so let's do 3 if we can't get to 5. But what are you building within your company? What are you building as a result of your certification? How big will your company be in revenues and people? What's your geographical footprint? What products or services are you delivering? Some of which maybe you're creating, you haven't created yet. And who do you sell? Who's your target audience? And, or, you know, who do you work with? Who does your company work with to cause the results that you're committed to causing? Maybe your vision is to have some sort of social impact. So really, let's answer those questions. And then let's convert it into a specific statement, which we call our vision. And I'm going to put an example on the screen. So within the next 3 years, grow Colorado Window Company into a 40 million national home products company that specializes in manufacturing and distribution for custom and replacement garden windows and skylights. It's really specific. So let's get your vision specific. And there might be this thought creeping in your head, which is, well, yes, but Michelle, I have 5 service lines or 5 different types of products I want to get out there. I get it. And I'm not saying stunt your growth. But what I am saying is, let's just focus on maybe 1 to 3 of those service lines, because you can always add more in later. I like to always speak about Campbell Soup because I'm in Philadelphia and their manufacturing facility, their headquarters is right outside of Philadelphia in Camden, New Jersey. When they first started, they started with 1 type of soup and just soup. Now they've a conglomerate of different companies and different types of products. And we can be that too, but let's just focus. So if you take a few moments and write down your vision for your company at a point in time in the future, whether it's 3 or 5 years from now, what's your revenue? Where are you geographically?
Michelle, I have a quick question. Geographical impact. Are you saying where you want your reach to be geographically, or I just clarity on that one little thing?
I was using it in terms of where will you be selling your products or services? Where will you have locations?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. And the idea is to really get as specific as you can. Specificity causes focus, which causes clarity, which causes power.
And like Michelle said, we want it to be realistic, but we also want it to kind of be that stretch. You know, if you're looking at trying to determine what your revenues, what you want them to be in 3 to 5 years, look at what they are now and then make that determination. And the vision is something for me personally, I kind of, your vision's going to stay the same. You may update it every year, but your vision is going to stay the same year after year. Unless for some reason you decide to completely change what your business is or what you're offering. I'm going to call out Amy on here for a minute because I know I'm friends with her and I see she's evolved her business over the last few years since it started. I don't mean to put you on the spot, Amy, you don't need to share anything, but I know she has said it, especially put it out on Facebook, that her business has changed and what she has done has changed, the people she has worked with. So obviously Amy's going to could change her vision completely. But if you are consistent, not that you're not consistent, Amy, but if you're consistent in what you're doing, your vision is going to stay the same for the most part. It may change, you know, the area you're working in or your revenue. Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, so my vision did change. But my vision has changed since I opened. I mean, I opened March 2nd, 2020. Like, there's nothing that's going to change your vision faster than a, worldwide pandemic here. Yeah, so I still do what I did at the heart of what I do, attract, engage, convert, but I decided I wanted to make more of an impact with my work. So my vision still is, how do we help people? It's just that's now evolved to my book, The Hidden Consumers, coming out next year. I'm talking about how in economics, we've really forgotten about the human impact of what we do and how our food industry has destroyed us. So I'm talking about how much money are the food and beverage industry leaving on the table. It helps them make more money, but it helps us as consumers as well. So yeah, that vision has really evolved and I'm looking for partners now. So yeah, my 3-year goal is I will not only have broken the 6-figure mark, but I'm knocking on the door of 7 because the book should be that launching pad to get me into more businesses. But again, it all comes back to what's the main vision? How do I make it happen? But yeah, I'm still who I am.
Right. And Amy, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to call you out again later when we talk about like strategies and stuff, because writing that book is a strategy for you.
Yes, it is.
You made a note, if you noticed. She wrote on
I
a little
did.
notepad to the right of her desk. I just want to point that out. So Amy and others here, I encourage you to actually write your vision out as specifically as the sample vision. So within the next 3 years, grow Hidden Consumers Consulting into a blank, blah, 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 specializing in or focusing on or and who you're supporting in your efforts and your endeavors. I'm the methodology stickler, just to point out. If anybody wants to know, I'm the methodology stickler. And I say it in a joking manner, but it actually, that's part of the consistency wins discussion, right? When you're using that methodology over and over and over again, you're actually pushing yourself in the execution part of the plan. So would anyone like to share their vision?
I can share my vision.
Okay.
In 2027, Lipscomb Engineering's a $6 million company with a management team in place and a growing customer base. We continue to be slitting service experts, and we're called on to consult and customize equipment for coil processors as well as cut to length and roll formers. We're now working on growing a sales team to bring our product and services worldwide.
Awesome. I
Great.
love that. Thank you, Gina.
Thanks.
I'm making a little note. I just heard an action plan, Megan. I'm not telling anyone yet. Okay, great. Thank you. Anyone else? Keep writing it down. You might make changes as we move forward, and that's fine too. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to get into the next element of the business growth plan. Megan?
Sure. So the next element is, well, we're kind of hopping over, right, Michelle, of the,
It goes back.
okay, what's that?
It goes back to that piece.
Okay, so the next one that we're going to speak about is the, what we're going to measure. It's those objectives, also kind of like referred to as goals. We kind of use it interchangeably on, if you're using the one-page business plan methodology, it is called objectives. So it's, what are we measuring? It's that revenue goal. We definitely recommend that everybody has something that they're tracking in terms of revenue. If you've never tracked revenue before, then it's, hey, let's track revenue. And it's usually on a monthly basis. Again, that's what the one-page business plan is, and that's kind of what the two of us strongly believe in as well. It's what we do for our own business, and then our separate business as well that we both have independently. For me personally, my revenue, I track what my revenue is this month, compare it to last year, the same month. And I determine what that kind of growth is that I'm looking for. Your objectives can be, if you want to go to the next one, Michelle, that's fine.
I'm sorry, I was so in deep listening to you.
Oh, that's nice. It's those, here we go. It's those results that are critical to be measured. It's not always the revenue. The revenue is, to me, it's one of the most important ones, but it doesn't always have to be revenue based. It could be how many clients or customers you want to add. It could be if you're adding team members to yourself, what to your team or your firm, your company, how many employees do you want to have? It could be something like how many training hours you want your team to do on a monthly basis. It's anything that's really important to you and your business that you want to be measured. And it's the things that are going to drive that business forward. Oh, look at you. You're jumping ahead already here.
I'm sorry.
Yes, no, you're great. So here's just kind of some of those things that we want to be keeping in mind, when it comes to setting your objectives. You want to figure out what we're going to measure and what we want to keep us on track to then get to that point. We've already written down what our vision is, where you want that business to be in 3 or 5 years. So what do we need to measure and track this year to be able to hit that in 3 or 5 years? It's those, one of those key buzzwords is the key performance indicators, your KPIs. What are we tracking? It's the metrics that are critical for us to move the business forward and be successful in the business. Does anybody have objectives that they're currently measuring? You can just kind of raise your hands. We can kind of throw out some more ideas.
We also have some examples coming up.
And when we say it's something that we want to track and measure, think about a bar graph. It's something that's going to go onto that graph. It's going to be quantifiable. We can say like, oh, I want to add more clients, but what does that look like on a bar graph? It's, I want to add 3 new clients every month in the month of 2024. So when you really think of what that quantifiable, think of it something that's going to be graphable. So take a few minutes, we'll share some examples, take a few minutes and think about what is it that you're measuring or that you could be measuring.
I think there was a question, Megan.
Yep.
Dr. Drina, did you have a question or were you just?
No, I was just responding when you asked a question about whether or not you had
Got
object.
it.
Great. Did you want to share anything that you're measuring?
Absolutely. So I actually co-founded an organization that where business owners get together and we act as advisory council members to each other. So we keep each other accountable. And every year we actually have a mini retreat in which we get together and we craft our goals for the year, and we have objectives that we write down, and we actually track it on a monthly basis, and we actually get together and we share those goals and the metrics that we're tracking, and we are accountable to each other to find out, did you hit the goals? Why didn't you hit the goals? What's going on? What's holding you back? And so one of the ones that I have, which is very it's very unique, it's very interesting, but it's very important for me to reach my revenue goal, which is to attend at least 4 national conferences in 2024. Now, when you dig into the goal and the reasons and for tracking that, it does track back. But I know that my ideal client are at these conferences, and to maximize my traveling dollars, I know it's national conferences I need to be attending rather than local networking events.
That's great. Thank
That's
you for
great. And I love
sharing.
that you said that you share with other people and you're held accountable for it. That's, that's a really great key as well in terms of business planning and tracking. And like I said earlier, we really want to think about how to use the certification in terms of business planning. And really think about what an objective or goal could be around using the certification in growing your business. Like you just said, is it attending conferences where you know that being a diverse supplier would benefit you? Is it showing up here for the NAWBO certification webinars? That could be an objective. How many webinars, or how many people do you want to meet and talk to about you being a certified women business owner? Those could be anything that you want to measure as well.
I also wanted to point out something that you said, that you are part of a group that meets and holds each other accountable. Often, we talk about team as an important element to growing your business. And some businesses are a team of one. And so, you may think that that is not relevant to you, like having a team and working with a team and having someone hold you accountable. But to your point, Dr. Drina, and for others, having a group, having another person within this group, like having an accountability partner, that they're on your team. So team could be a broader definition than employee. And the value to that team is being your collaborative partner to help you attain your vision and your goals. Shall I fast forward?
Yeah. Yep. We've all heard this before, so just kind of reiterate, when you're setting those objectives and goals, you want them to be smart. You want it to be specific. Again, this is where, hey, this is what my revenue was this year. This is what my revenue, my tracking, my goal for my revenue this year is going to be. Measurable. I already touched on that. You want it to be something that you can measure, and it's going to be graphable. Attainable. If your revenue's $1 million, is it attainable to go to 10 million next year? Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but you want it to be attainable, realistic, and also timely. If you know it's something that you're not going to do until next year, then leave it off your business plan for this year. Make sure that whatever you're tracking, it's relevant to this current year, or like the next few years if you're looking at the 3-year time. Targets, if you have to guess, you have to guess. I always like to share my first year. So real quick, my dad started my accounting firm in the 80s. I became a partner and I bought him out 3 years ago. And that first, it was the middle of the year. So I redid kind of my business plan with it just being me for the last 6 months of the year. And it was October and I had hit my revenue goal. I thought in June and July when I set my plan and my objectives, I thought that, my target and my guesses were kind of where they should be and they weren't. So real quick in October, it was all right, do I take the rest of the year off or do I change those numbers and fix them so they're a little bit more where they should be? So if you have to guess on numbers, if it's not something that you have historical data on, make that guess with the information that you have, and then adjust it as the time goes by and you actually see the real number, the real data. And you have 2 CPAs here. We kind of geek out over data. So I think that's why we love this tool.
And particularly this part.
So the next page is just a couple of sample objectives. I can read them out loud or you can read them on the screen. But again, you're going to see that they're specific. They have that number that we can measure. And again, keep in mind that they don't always have to be sales driven or profit driven. It could be if you do something with a product. I always like this example. If you sell a product, maybe it's something that, or if you're doing something with a client that you have to constantly reworking, maybe you're looking at decreasing the amount of times that you have to edit or adjust something. It could be decreasing the amount of staff turnover. If you have a lot of staff turnover, it could be decreasing that. So it doesn't always have to be revenue driven.
One added element I'm going to share right now that we're not talking about necessarily today, but since Megan pointed it out and we said it in the beginning, you have 2 CPAs here, whether you're small or you're just getting started or you're, on your plan for scaling, having your financial historical results, your books up to date and ready to go for this work is really important, to help you do some planning so you can use some of that historical knowledge and that accurate reporting to help you plan for the future. Just had to throw that in there.
The next page that Michelle's going to go to. Oh, there
Should we
you go.
give everyone a few moments to write down their objectives?
Yeah, that'd be great. If you want to switch to the next page though, too, Michelle, I think this kind of helps people as they do write down some ideas for objectives. And again, really focus on how you're going to use the certification to help you grow your business. This just kind of reiterates what we've already said about objectives, but just to kind of keep it in mind as you create them or update them if you already have them.
Does anyone have an example of an objective that they created around becoming certified?
What about anyone with maybe your dream corporation wish list? I know a lot of you have sent me your wish list over. Maybe that could be part of it.
That's a great one. I think a really great one for sure. Because it's those companies, once you get into them and really cultivate those relationships. I might be jumping ahead just a little bit. Sorry.
Sorry if that was my fault.
No, that's great. But no, very good point. Could be 5 new companies in a year. And often you're creating your business plan, maybe in the fall of a year for the next year or shortly after the year begins. And, we are here in April and, it's okay to look at goals through December, but also, possibly create some goals now through the end of December 2025. So we'll move into the next section, which is why does your company exist?
So yeah, we're kind of jumping around. If you do know the 1-page plan methodology, we are jumping backwards here. So the mission, like Michelle just said, it's why does your company exist? It's just that quick, usually it's 4 to 8 words is what they try and tell you to keep it to, which is very, very difficult. But it's why does your business exist? What do you do? Who do you help? What are you committed to providing to your customers? What is special or different about your company? What do you do what kind of sets you apart from other people that do similar work that you do? The creating your mission statement, it helps you define your customer, your product, your service. It communicates who you are and what you do. And it helps to, what makes you attractive to your ideal customer. Again, 8 to 12 words, short, memorable. For some companies, it becomes their tagline, their branding strategy. Dunkin' Donuts, their kind of tagline is everyone runs on Dunkin'. I don't know if they would say that that's their mission statement, but a lot of times the mission statement becomes your tagline too.
And you know what, Megan? It's also something that you remember as a consumer, right? Because you mentioned Dunkin' and it sticks with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anybody have a mission statement that they're already in place that they want to share? Here's a sample one. I think people get hung up on the mission statement. So don't worry if you're a little bit hung up on it. This one usually takes some time to develop.
I got one.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
We
let's
make-
do it.
We make grocery shopping safe for everyone.
I love it.
That's great.
We have one too. We leverage stage and story to drive gender equity.
Perfect.
Love it.
And these
Thank you.
won't really change over time. Once you set your mission, it stays consistent.
Every time we talk about this part of the plan, I think of Nike and Just Do It, with their logo or their symbol.
Right.
The next piece of the business plan is the strategies. And how will you grow this business over time? And, what are you doing to cause you to achieve your objectives and also to cause you to fulfill on that vision that you created? So for Dr. Drina, she said something about she knows that going to national shows really provides the value for her that she needs to really cultivate and develop relationships to grow her business. So a piece of her strategy is to grow her business through national events. And what other ways are you thinking about strategically to grow your business? Having your certification and growing your business through your certification is another strategic way to grow your business. So how are you going to build your business over time? What strategy are you employing to do so? Is it, through developing, through different ways of marketing or making connections somehow, but strategically, what is it that you're doing?
That book that Amy wrote, that's a really good strategy as well.
Right. Public relations, strategic, advancement. And so in our example that we're using throughout this process of the company that we're using, they're focusing on new upscale home development and baby boomer remodeling trends to increase, to fulfill on their objectives and achieve their vision.
We've Kim put in here networking with other women who are in a similar industry. Absolutely. Strategy. The strategies, it's the blueprint of your business. It's not a secret. It's what works. If you pick up any trade journal or publication, Yeah, I pick up the AICPA or whatever accounting today, and it's going to tell you what helps to build your business. So any of the strategies, it's not a secret, and people are usually very willing to share what has made them successful, and those are the strategies.
Megan and Michelle, I have a question. When you guys are talking about growing your business or strategizing your business using your certification, are you referring to or inferring that that the way to do that is to focus on potential customers or clients that want to that are looking for women-owned businesses, or I'm trying to connect that to
Right, absolutely. So, when Michelle and I were talking about this workshop, we were saying that, people get certified for different reasons, whether it's the women's certification through NAWBO or WeBank or a minority or a veteran-owned, everybody gets certified for different reasons. And there's no right or wrong reason or right or wrong way to use that certification. But we really wanted to help you guys come up with what your plan is to use the certification. I've shared, there's a chamber local to me that they just recently did, it was a diverse supplier. It was kind of like matchmaking where you told people who you wanted to meet, and then the people who are using the diverse suppliers are also saying who they want to sit in front of as well. And it was just quick 5-10 minute conversations. So what kind of opportunities are you seeking out using that certification? Some people get certified and they don't really do anything with it in terms of really being active, and that's okay too. Some people just want to market the heck out of it, right? They just want to be able to put on their website, have that SEO target words that I'm women certified. So if people are doing, for me, I'm a CPA. If somebody's doing a Google search and they're looking for a woman CPA, I may hit higher because I have women certification on my website. So that's just kind of what we wanted to help you guys brainstorm of how you can use the certification to hit that, like what your vision is for your business. Did that answer your question, or did I miss the mark?
We're headed there.
Okay.
I see Dr. Ellis have her hand up, so.
Yeah, I knew somebody had their hand up. I wasn't.
Yeah, my question was actually similar because I don't think I know yet what are some of the ways that I could grow my business through the NAWBO certification. So like Kimberly mentioned earlier about some people sending her their dream list of companies. And so would we share with her those companies that are already NAWBO partners and discuss ways to connect with them? I mean, so I'm really eager to hear what some people are doing in terms of using the certification to grow their business.
Yes, and I'll interject real fast. I do think it looks differently for every woman. It depends on who you want to do business with. And I think part of just having a plan is having in your mind, who are your, let's say, your top 10 corporations or businesses that you personally want to do business with, and doing the research to see who that contact person is, doing the research to see what kind of certifications are they actually asking for. So there's a lot of different components with it. And I do think I'd love to hop on offline with some of you who do have more intentional certification questions and definitely walk you through some other options and some just other ways of looking at how to utilize your certification, because at the end of the day, it is a business development tool.
That's the intention. Yeah. So, Dr. Pamela, what kind of business do you have?
Oh, my business partners with moms to help their teen with finding a college that feels like home without overpaying.
Great.
I need to utilize you, Dr. Pamela.
Yeah.
And I think as we go into the next section here of action plans, I think this is where, even as a group collaborating, this is where you could jot down some ideas of how you can use your certification. We already know that really like getting certified is a strategy for helping you grow your business and getting to the next level and working with different people. Because at the end of the day, it's a strategy. So now what's that action plan? What do you want to be doing? What's that work that you're doing within the certification? Is it, like Kimberly just said, looking up corporations that you want to work with? And then doing the research and connecting with Kimberly and other people through the NALBO certification program, connecting with each other, collaborating here. What's that action plan? Is it, like I said, I went to this diverse matchmaking event. Is it to seek out opportunities like that? I don't know. I'm not certified through NALBO. I was certified before NALBO came up with the program, so I don't know what all NALBO is offering in terms of connections and, you know, like, hey, this is how you work. Kim had mentioned Lululemon. You know, at some point there was a workshop with Lululemon about working with them. So now this was the next step, talking about the work that you're doing. And again, you know, just some quick thoughts about the action plan. Here's some sample action plans, but the action plan, it's the work that you're going to be doing. And it's also assigning who's going to be doing it. It's not always you as the business owner. It could be somebody that works for you. It could be an outsourced program or outsourced company that you're working with in terms of developing whatever that action plan is. It doesn't have to be surrounding your certification. It could be just it could be a marketing plan that you're rolling out. It could be new website development that you're working on. But in terms of the certification, what is that action plan? Who's doing it? It's not a to-do list. This is like the business building plans that you're doing throughout the course of the year.
So before you actually write those down, one of the things that's coming up for me in terms of, you know, how do you use your certification to advance your company, which I think is a really great inquiry in which to be. You know, what is its purpose for your company and yourself? And again, there might, you know, there's a lot to this, and there's, you know, it's what we know to do to run our business. It's what we know we don't know to do to run our business. And we go figure out how to do that. But then there's this whole area of what we don't know. And there's a lot more of that than we can even possibly imagine, right? So, but the way that we really start thinking this through is like, you know, who are you serving? And Dr. Pamela, you have a very specific group that you're serving. And there are a lot of moms out there in a lot of companies that really could utilize your support in, you know, going to a college in an affordable manner. And maybe it's the moms at Lululemon, or, you know, the moms at another corporate company that is within this certification group that you have relationships with. And, you know, and maybe you put a questionnaire together or some sort of, you know, a way to make an introductory connection. It's like, there's a lot of moms out there, and they're probably at these companies that are seeking women-owned businesses that are certified.
And one other thing, I also think there's a lot of corporations who roll in benefits for their employees for college counseling. We have it with my husband's company. He's in pharma. And so that you could be an advisor at a corporation as part of their benefit package. So, but we can definitely, you know, I can talk offline as well to get into the weeds.
we get our juices flowing, but we're just here to really spark the thoughts to come out with some follow-up afterwards. And we are getting close to the end of this event. I'm so surprised. Thank you everyone for your participation. We want to talk about keeping accountable to your plan. And this is also these key elements of the one-page plan. Again, in summary, vision, mission, strategies, objectives, and action plans. And, you know, it's this slide which reminds me that consistency wins, because you want to create a plan and then review it on a regular basis, whether that be monthly or quarterly, you know, and focusing on those objectives you created and reviewing those consistently thinking about what's actually happening compared to the goals, the objectives that you created, looking at it over and over again in a consistent manner so that you can keep building from what you created in terms of your plan. I noticed I jumped in there, Megan.
That's
Did you
okay.
wanna- Did
No,
you want to
that's
add
all right.
something to that?
No, you were good. Other than I know she said about consistency wins, but that's also kind of where, when we said at the beginning, why now matters. You know, what you're doing now is so important to help you get to where you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years.
Make it simple. And because there is definitely complexity around having your certification and moving forward with it. So the more you can simplify, the more you will really focus your energies in the direction that you're seeking to move, and taking that road that you've created for yourself and your company. I wanted to give you enough time for the end of the session. Megan, do you want me to do this, or do you want to?
Sorry, are you pulling the link, or do you want, are you putting it?
Oh, I'll pull the link while you're.
Okay, so Michelle is putting the link to the assessment into the chat. It won't take you long. We would love for you to participate and just kind of tell us where things stand. Living that there, yeah, now I'm all getting tongue tied here. Once you give the plan to us, you will be put into a raffle for a gift from us. It's a really great resource that we use. In addition, you'll receive our resource of top 10 tips for living your plan. We hope that you empower yourself with or we can empower you with some actionable advice to help you navigate your business and propel your business forward. So Michelle just threw the link into the chat. If you would take a few minutes and do the assessment, we would love it. No one's saying the link didn't work, so that's great. The fear is always something's not going to work with the link.
It's working for me. My fear is
Perfect.
always toggling screens when I'm on a recorded Zoom. I'm afraid I'm going to hit the wrong button and end the whole thing. All right, now to get back to the assessment.
So I sent mine through. Hopefully you guys received it.
Great, thank you.
This was very helpful. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions, comments, things they want to share? Any aha moments?
I think my aha moment was around the certification for NAWBO. Is I started off on one plan, but it's really evolved and isn't really what NAWBO expects, I think, of how people use their certification, but it's okay because everyone has a different strategy.
That's
so
true.
It's worth it to keep it going.
And Amy, I'd love to chat with you offline about that and just get some of your thoughts on that as well.
Okay.
I have been certified now. I've been in business for 8 years. I've been certified for 7. And one of the things that I know I do, and I don't get commissions or even the organization doesn't reach out to me to say, or I don't let this know, but I always counsel or advise my women-owned businesses to certify. And here's the thing: getting a certification will not get you a contract. However, if you're certified and you don't, certifying is an investment into your business. And when I think about doing something with my certification, it's showing up for events like this. It's showing up for the organization's workshops or seminars or conferences. And that's where I'm doing something with my certification, because I'm finding value in a community of like-minded business owners. And also it's like a free opportunity to market and promote yourself or as Amy was saying, she's looking for partners. We have to do a way to be able to vet and find your partners, right? And so I have proudly and excitedly every year recertified, because I know it's well worth the investment. And if I can just put that out there on a table for someone who's attending today's workshop and haven't certified yet, my exact words to the last two of my clients who weren't certified, I said, it is worth every penny. So thank you.
You also touched on a good point. It reminded me also of something Megan and I were talking about when we were planning for today, is becoming certified and then using it for your benefit, whatever that is for you, really takes time to cultivate. So when we went through that, like, where are you today and where do you plan to be in 5 years? It's definitely not perhaps there are some where there's overnight success once they've gotten certified, for sure. For the large majority of the women business owners that we've worked with, it really takes time to cultivate, navigate, figure out, stay consistent, stay like driving it forward, you know. Sometimes it feels like there's more steps back than steps forward, but that consistency and that like really thinking, you know, really trying to navigate through, that's where it really matters in terms of that value that you're talking about, Dr. Drina, for sure.
Absolutely. And, you know, certification really, I always say this, it's a business development tool and it's a bucket of revenue for your business, because you wouldn't want all of your business to come from certification, but it's a bucket of revenue. And any tool that you use for your business, it takes time, to your point, Michelle, to develop and to master it as well, and to develop those relationships.
We appreciate all of you for participating today. And as you completed your assessments, you probably saw you could, if you haven't gotten your 10 tips, you will be getting them shortly. And there's also a way where you can, there's a barcode where you should be able to connect with us if you want to set up to talk with us. We've offered this group a 30-minute free strategic session after this. So you just click on one of the links there and you can get to us. If for some reason the technology is not working as synchronistically right now as it should be, our email addresses are on the screen. You could write those down and you can connect with either Megan or I via email. And Kimberly also has our contact information. So you have 3 different ways to get connected to us to take it further from here. And in terms of 3, I love the number 3. It's my favorite number. And so what I will leave you with is just, you know, 3 things that you know, are percolating as you hang up today. Write them down and then start, you know, thinking about how you can investigate those. We've entered your names into the drawing. So if you win the gift, we will be emailing you out. And then enjoy our freebie. And thank you all for being here, being present, and enjoying this time today. We're grateful for all of you, and good luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Megan. This was so spectacular and I'm so grateful. And also thank you to everyone on the call who participated. I really appreciate that, because I always think that whenever we do that, we become vulnerable, and I appreciate you doing that. And I think that this is one of many discussions we can have with Beyond Strategy Partners. There's a lot here, and I believe that we can continue this and revisit some of these subjects and kind of check in with everyone. So thank you so much. And our time is up.
That's right. We have 10 minutes to ourselves on this session. So thank you, everyone. Go jot down those notes and get started on those plans.
Great seeing everyone.